First of all, I would like to welcome you to my channel, The Ocean of the English Literature. Here you will get stuff about English literature and anything which is related to the literature you will see here. So moving to the next, our topic for today is what is literature, and I'm going to make a full documentary upon it, in which I will include a few questions, and we will take those questions in our observation, and we will try to study about literature today. This video is not going to be long because I want to take your perspective as well in the end of the video, so that I could know that how much progress is still need to be made to make you understand things, to make things understand to you. Thank you very much. Let's move to our next. So here is first slide. It is about the definition of English literature. So let's read it together. Literature is a writing or spoken text which is formed by using partially or completely symbolic language that gives the human life new meaning, that is based on fanciful perspectives by using imagination along with the reason. So we have done with it. Now the things to understand in this definition are these highlighted terms. Look at these terms. Number one, the text should be spoken. It should be appealing text. It should be a spoken text. It should have some creativity in it, some forces in it. For example, the second point is symbolic language. The language should be symbolic. It should not be just a simple language as I am speaking to you. Similarly, it should not be any simple language. Rather, it should be a symbolic language. And always remember that literature is a work which gives new meaning to the life, to the human life. So our third point is new meaning. The definition of literature must contain symbolic language and new meaning in it. And our last point is fanciful perspectives. There should be perspectives. The text or the work should be based on fanciful perspectives, and by using imagination along with the reason. So this is first definition of English literature that I've found on internet. You can also find it on internet, but the purpose here is that you to save your time as much as I can do. So without wasting any more time, we are now moving towards our next slide. Our next slide is about definition number 2. Now the definition number 2 is a little bit complex. You can say that it is a complex type of definition because I took this from Wikipedia. Now this definition says definitions of literature have varied over time. Yeah, it is a true fact that things they get changed over time. And in Western Europe prior to the 18th century, literature denoted all books, and writing literature can be seen as returning to older, more inclusive notions, so that cultural studies, for instance, include. So till this line, you can make up an idea that definition of literature never remains same in every age. It has to be changed, but the quality that every written book will count into the literature. For example, if books were written in past, now they will also count in a form or in a genre of modern literature in itself. It means that the literature today we are watching, the literature today we have, is not the new literature, but it is the modification into the past. I hope you are getting my point. It is the modification. It is the modified literature. It would be very best if we say that it is modified literature. Similarly, the books written in the past, they gave us idea about the cultural studies. And let's read next. In addition to the canonical works, popular and minority genres, the word is also used in reference non-written works to the oral literature and the literature of the pre-literature culture. Now, what is the literature of the pre-literature culture. This is the age of, you can say, this is the initial age when humans, they do not know to talk, they do not know to communicate by writing, and therefore they used to talk with their sounds, and due to which few literature is also mentioned as oral literature, and we also name it pre-literature. So pre-literature and oral literature are the literatures which were before written literature. So this was very good definition. I think you should note it. Now moving towards the next, it is very important to know who is father and mother, because if you do not have any idea of the father and mother, how can you study the child? How can you study about the children if you do not even know about the mother and father? So remember, father of English literature is Geoffrey Chaucer, and mother of English literature is Frances Burney. So I think it will add into your knowledge. Now moving to the next slide, it is about oldest written book. Okay, the oldest written book, the writing book, as with the wheel, cities and law courts, the earliest example of the written literature appear to have originated in ancient Mesopotamia. Now the Mesopotamia, they were first, you can say, they count into the first civilizations. They made signs, they made some, you can say, specific signs to talk about their ministerial activities, and therefore they used to invent, they were first who invent signs to talk with each other, and this was the time around 3400 BC. So Sumerian civilization was first who developed writing. So this was an important point, I think. Now if we move towards next point, this is literature and art? Very big question. Now literature can be defined as art. How? Because it communicates with us. The man who writes the book is in an action, and we are the audience, you can say. So when an author writes, he takes words to create a story to communicate to us. Through this story, we are able to create a picture of the characters, visit new places, and find meaning in what could be seen as simple events. An author's writing style is her platform for sharing an art. So I hope you may get the whole point, that how can literature be defined as art. Literature is actually an art. Literature is itself an art. Whenever you will read a book, it means you are going to transform your mind into that book, and similarly that book is going to put effect upon your mind. So you are a receiver and the book is a giver, and the man who wrote that book is the controller, you can say. He is controlling your mind by his writing. Now it depends upon the quality of the writing and the quality of the writer as well. So literature can be defined as an art. I hope it is clear. Now let's move to the next point. Literature and art, I think it is defined. Yeah. What is literature review? So people, they ask such questions these days, as it is need of the day that you have to write a review. You have to give your review about a literary work. So for the literary work, how you can submit a review? So you have to focus that you have to know you must have known what is literature review. A literature review surveys books, scholarly articles, and any other sources relevant to a particular issue, area of research or theory, and by doing so uh, provides a description, summary, and critical evaluation of these works in relation to the search problem being investigated. Now let me tell you that what terms you have to keep in your mind when you are moving towards literature review. Here we got the point. There are only 3 to 4 points. Number 1 is survey. Remember, you have to survey. Now, what you will survey? You will survey about books, scholarly articles, and any other sources relevant to a particular issue or area of research or theory, or by so doing. So this is your first step, that you are going to search about your topic. You are going to collect the data, about every possible data about your topic, because references, they will make your review more stronger to be put an impact upon your you can say checker. So now, what should be the purpose behind review? It should provide a description, summary, or a critical evaluation of the works that you have collected. I hope that you may get my point now. So all you have to do is you have to investigate. When you are doing a literature review, you are a person who is an investigator of the truth. So this is our point. This is meant by literature review. Now let's move to the next slide. And this is literary criticism, of course, one of the greatest branch of literature, you can say. Literature, whatever we have now, is a result of the criticism, you can say. Literary criticism, the reasoned consideration of the literary works and issue. It applies as a term to any argumentation about literature, whether or not specific works are analyzed. Now here you should know that literary criticism is a reasoned consideration of any literary work or issue. If we talk about first critique in history, then we have the name Plato. Plato was the first man who did criticize upon poetry and art in his own philosophy. But in his reply, Aristotle wrote the book Poetics. Yeah, it was the Poetics. So these 2 books can count into the first ever literary criticism. So this is the criticism in which you make arguments about your point of view, and you judge a book or a work in your own point of view, and you talk about it into some framework, and you determine that in what sense it should cleared out as a literature or not. So this is all about analysis that you made about literary work. So the term which you should keep in your mind is the reasoned consideration, which I have highlighted in this slide. So you can note down that the reasoned consideration is all about literary criticism contained. Now, last but not least, this is literary theory. What is a literary theory? Literary theory is a school of thought or style of literary analysis. Whenever you will do an analysis, you must have a literary theory or a school of thought or style. It means to critique the ideas and principles of the literature. Whatever work you will get into the hand, if you are going to criticize it, you must have a school of thought. And based on this school of thought and style, you will be able to criticize this. Now, which applies to the interpretation of a piece of literature. Yeah, This was another important point. Now there are 3 to 4 important points that you have to keep in your mind if you're going to learn about literary theory. First of all is school of thought, which is also named as style, and second is critique the idea. The purpose should be critique the ideas and principles of the literature. Now another term for the literary theory is called hermeneutics. Now what is hermeneutics? Hermeneutics is interpretation of a piece of literature. So let's move to the next. What is literacy? Regarding literacy, it can be identified with critical literacy. For this, you have to know what is literacy. Literacy is an ability to recognize and understand what kind of stuff, what kind of language is being used into the work. The ability to read the words on a literary text and produce literary meaning. This is something which we call literacy. There are also few terms that you should notice, that you should note. Sorry, there is a little bit of problem in my grammar, but I hope I will cover it soon. So regarding literary literacy, it can be identified with critical literacy. It is not literacy, sorry, it is critical literacy. It should be noted as critical literacy because it is the ability to recognize and understand certain conventions of the language. Every language has conventions, and when you are able to understand those certain conventions, it means that you are able to make critical literacy about it. It is also ability to read the words on a literary text. It is not possible for everyone to read critical writing. Therefore, there are some specialized persons who do this job, and you can also make yourself able to read this if you have specialization on literacy. In the end, you have to produce some literary meaning. I hope you got my point. So this is all about that. After doing work upon your literacy and critical literacy, you are someone who can produce literary meaning from that work. So thank you very much for watching this video. I will keep producing such videos to help you guys, and I truly need your feedback into the comment section. And do not forget to subscribe this channel because I'm working a little bit hard these days, and I'm going to work more hard to make a sense of literature, because this is the ocean of the English literature. Thank you very much. See you guys.